It's another beautiful and very warm late May day today. I'm back in this part of Clipston Quarter where a number of years ago Cryptocephalus querceti was last seen. It was 2011, I believe. I thought it was 2012, but it seems I was wrong. But this is the habitat that we're going to be looking for Cryptocephalus querceti. This is the second survey, and there'll be a quick succession of surveys. I won't video them all, so you won't get bored with them, but when you're looking and working with trees like this, difficult to get bored of them, really. There's some fantastic old ancient oaks in this part of Sherwood Forest. Most of them aren't seen by members of the public, so I will show you some of those trees that are indeed tucked away, because that's the kind of habitat that querceti likes. It likes ancient oaks such as these in a nice hot situation, protected from the variances of the British weather. They're proper little sun worshippers. So just to summarise then before I get into this video is about me surveying for Cryptocephalus querceti. It's red datable 2. I think now there's every case for it to be upgraded to red datable 1. I think it's definitely decreased. It's not been seen here since 2011. And it'd be nice to find it again. I have looked for it a number of times, most years in fact, to try and see this beetle again. It's only about 3 millimeters in length, black and shiny with largely orangey yellow legs. And the easiest way to find it has always been by looking up underneath the low foliage of oaks and looking for that characteristic Cryptocephalus silhouette. It's very distinctive, and if we find one I might be able to show it you. So we're roughly heading that way. We're going to work a similar route to the previous video, but we're going to take in some different trees that are tucked away in this part of Sherwood Forest. I think I've got one. But it's out of reach. I have got the beating tray, which I'm going to try because I think I need it to dislodge this one, but it's on these lower sections or lower branches that are in foliage. It's on the very top piece, on the highest of those branches. We'll give that a tap, and hopefully it'll drop straight into the net, so to speak. we do indeed have querceti. Well, this is Cryptocephalus querceti. Not much to look at, small, black, typical Cryptocephalus size. It's alright, I'm panicking because I don't want to lose it. I do have two. There's two on this branch that have just beaten off. But you can see, size-wise, against my finger there, we're only talking about 3 mil. This may well be a female, so we'll get this potted up and take it home, and it will be released tomorrow. Excellent stuff. Well, that's the tree. Third one I've tried so far this morning on the survey. The branches that they were on are now on the left of the trunk. And see if I can reach those spindly branches, shorter branches that are on the right of the trunk. May well be able to get the stick and the sheet up to them. Brilliant. It's always great when something pays off. It's been quicker than what I thought. I must admit, deep down, I didn't think that querceti would still be here because it had been so long since Dilys and I had last seen it. In fact, one of the two that I've got in a pot, I think, is already producing a pot. So we still have a viable population. But this is a very elusive beetle. I don't think there's many people living that's seen querceti in Sherwood. Brilliant. I'm going to head down there following the same kind of route as last time, I think. Having had that early success makes me look forward to trying on the trees down there, but sometimes early success in anything can lead to hours of complete failure and nothing. That's what I'm dreading, but at least it's here. So, trying the trees down there. Well, there's two more oaks here. The one that you can see on the right of the picture, just on the left side of the trunk, which is the south facing side, some very likely looking growth there. They look ideally suited, these lower branches. And then just at the back of the prunus, there's a bushy sort of young prunus that's growing there, and there's another oak, and that's an absolute belter of a tree. It looks perfect querceti conditions and trees, and indeed it is one of the trees that we used to find and recorded querceti on. We never did find the beetle that many times. I think only about 4 records, to be honest. So it'd be nice to find one on either of these two trees, and I won't be going in immediately with the beating tray, but the beating tray is certainly proving to be useful here. Well, nothing on the tree at the back, so come to look at the first part on this sunny side, this magnificent ancient. That's not a terrifically tall tree. It's certainly as wide as it is high. But we'll have a look on this low stuff. Nothing immediately obvious. It may well be that this is too far from the trunk but we'll give it a try. Not on there. Well, one thing, even if you don't find it on trees like this, it's narrowing it down just to be more specific as to the beetle's requirements. There's a lot of young growth on this branch that comes out here, so it's worth a try there, though it is shaded. But I need to try everything, or as much as possible, so that I can sort of rule out certain habitats, or habitats within habitats, so to speak. Try and find exactly what the beetle prefers. That's as much of an aim now, especially that we've actually found querceti. I'll just change position and come back out onto the path so you can see the difference between these two trees. The one just on the right of this path, it's a very wide tree. In fact, it's as wide as it is tall. It's not the tallest of ancients, but the growth on this tree is particularly thick. Fantastic amount of growth on it. And this near side is one of the sites where we found several Cryptocephalus querceti, did it to myself, back right in over a decade ago now. I have a feeling that that might not be the preferred type of foliage, and that the tree on the left, that you can just see a branch going across the path here, may well be more to the beetle's liking. Perhaps querceti now prefers a more open tree, the vegetation more sparse, but we need to find out. It's a case of narrowing this kind of thing down now and trying to find out a bit more about the beetle. The target and aim of the survey has been achieved, but we've now got a number of surveys where we can, or where I would like to find a little bit more out about querceti and its particular needs and requirements. Now I need to try this tree now. This is another tree where we had Cryptocephalus querceti, all from, I say all, only the odd one and two. Never had any large cats, anything like that at all, but we did have some from this side of this particular ancient. It's quite an open tree. There's lots of suitable growth on it, but a lot of it is out of reach. No idea how high querceti will go, or whether it just stays low, or we know nothing about it, to be honest. So I'll look on this low foliage, both visually, and I'll give it a quick beat as well, see if anything drops off. quite a bit of debris which we can throw. The usual assortment of click beetles. The commonest click beetle at the moment is Aethus hemorrhoidalis and Dolopius marginatus. They're the two that I'm turning up a lot on. But there is no querceti. Well, we're gradually narrowing it down. The fact that we've just had it on the one tree, at least the one tree today, could be on this tree on the next survey. So I need to continue to check the trees, certainly the trees that I checked last time. Well, at least the ones that are remotely similar to the one that we've had them on. But I've tried in between shooting sections for this video, I've tried on these younger oaks, which we have recorded a couple of querceti on, but there's been nothing, no sign, in fact no sign of querceti apart from the two on that third tree that we found using this. Anyway, we'll see what else we could turn up. Now then, this isn't querceti, but just look at this. I did a video a couple of months ago looking for ledra. Might have been nearly 2 years ago now. Well, this is ledra, but this is a young ledra. This is the nymph of one of our most fantastic leafhoppers called Ledra aurita. And I don't want this to fly, because I want to rear this through so I can show you this as adult, because it's something that you never see very often. It looks or reminds me of Mickey Mouse when as adult, but what an incredible thing this is. So we'll get this into a pot. This is going to be the subject of a later video. Now I'm sure you'll probably remember this fantastic old ancient, it's tucked away, will come more off the path now, and it's this lower branch that comes towards the camera with all this young growth emanating from the whole length of this branch right towards the stem or the trunk, and that's what I want to look on, because I'd marked this out or earmarked it out as being really suitable for querceti. This tree was haloed, but it was haloed 2 years ago, and I know that because of the regrowth from the hollies that's growing just to the left of the trunk. So we'll have a look and see if there's anything on this branch here. It looks very likely, but has querceti found it? Well, nothing on it. I don't want to whack the hell out of it because it's not my style to use one of these a great deal anyway. And it's only young growth, so it's quite fragile, but Cryptocephalus beetles do come off the foliage very easily. So we'll have a walk down the path, check some more trees down there, and then work his way back round because time's pressing. Well, I've come back out onto the path in order to have a look at these two trees. These are the last of the ancients on this section of path, and what I'll do then, I'll go to the other end to the dying tree that you saw at the end of the last querceti video. But these two trees are quite promising. Both been haloed this year, or this previous winter just gone by the looks of it. So these are two trees that Dillis and I used to check for querceti, but the tree at the back might be the most suitable, but we don't know. Might not be on either tree. It's not been on any other tree other than the one. But we'll have a look. Two nice trees, and for ancients, quite small. I'm just admiring the catch. These have been the only two Cryptocephalus querceti that I've seen. Well, it's getting towards mid to late afternoon now, and the survey's done. Just one quick check of a tree to do, and that's because it's on the way back to the car. Once again, this particular part of Sherwood Forest has provided the goods. It's very underrated. They all go mad for the Sherwood Forest Country Park section. That's all they can see a lot of the time. So much to see here in these other lesser thought of parts of the Sherwood Forest National Nature Reserve. The big bonus about this part though, and these other outlying sites, is that they're like this. I've seen two people today in 4 hours. It always makes it a nice visit. Well, that's his second survey completed, and a successful survey at that. Two Cryptocephalus querceti off the same tree, and indeed off the same low branch close to the trunk. Nothing turned up in all the other trees that I tried, and so the next survey will be in a different area, or a different part of this area. All of the remaining ancients are pretty much behind me now and over towards the Blackpool plantation, and it's those trees we'll be checking. There are some trees in Blackpool plantation, but not too many. But we'll have a look at them, but they might be too exposed. This, say at one time, up till a few years ago, was pine plantation, but it's grown back really well. The birch has grown back strong here. On the other side in Blackpool plantation, it's not grown so well, and it's a lot more open there, and so I'm not convinced that will be suitable for querceti, but you never know. I'm pleased that I brought the old beating tray out. I didn't use it all the time. It might appear as though I have on this video, but I haven't. I did as much visual searching of foliage as I did using the beating tray, and I'm glad I brought out my old walking stick, because this terrain with the bracken, especially with the bracken growing and the bramble as well, is difficult to walk in, and as I'm getting on a bit, you know, I need something to prop me up, and that's called a pint of lager, and I can't get that here unfortunately, so it's time for home.